Do you love motherhood, but you also feel like you're drowning? Do you feed your kids organic fruit, but don't mind some screen time? Then this is the podcast for you. We are the Scrunchy Moms Club who like to keep it real and relatable about the roller coaster of motherhood. We aren't silky moms, we aren't crunchy moms, but we are scrunchy moms. Welcome back, scrunchy moms.
Hello.
We're here.
We're here.
I feel like we say that in the beginning of episodes.
Yeah, but like this was almost not happening because we're both very tired.
We're very tired. We've had a weekend, and we were very intertwined this weekend.
Yeah, this is our third day in a row seeing each other.
I know. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Biatch.
No, I feel like the third day I was like, I don't know if we're going to rip each other's heads off.
No, we're doing great.
No, we're doing great.
No, I love you. You're great.
But it was such a good weekend. Like, it was so heart fulfilling. I'm just like so tired.
Right. So like we, Saturday we went to a girls' brunch, and you know, just there's nothing like a little girls'
The group
brunch.
chat got together.
Yes,
that we always talk about, the group chat.
Yes, we finally all got together. And like our friend Griselli's, who just had her baby literally not even 2 weeks ago, was at brunch too.
And we didn't think she was going to make it.
I know,
Obviously, we had no pressure for her to come.
Right. And then last minute she said, yes, add me to the res. And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. Like it was, my heart was so happy.
I was so happy to see her. Everybody, but.
And she's just like killing it. Looks beautiful.
Yeah, second time mom, she's killing the game.
Yeah. So we had a gorgeous little heart-filling brunch, and then Sunday we decided the calm brunch without kids was not good enough, so we had to just kill ourselves and take all the kids to the theme park. And it was like the hottest day yesterday.
The hottest.
It was 104 on my car thermostat.
It's been raining, thunderstorm, overcast for like 3 weeks, and yesterday decided no cloud in the sky.
Oh my God.
So fucking hot.
So, like, Satan's butthole. Like, really, it was just so bad.
It was like being under like a hairdryer. It was just so fucking hot.
I got a little burnt too, like a little bit, but we did that. And the thing is, when you're in your 30s and you go to a theme park all day, you literally feel like you're hungover the next day. I feel like
I'm hungover. I didn't have a drop of alcohol.
Nope.
But I woke up, my whole body ached. I was so thirsty.
So thirsty.
I am unwell today.
And just like the second I got home, I ran to my shower, cold as ice shower, and just like laid in my bed. I was like, sorry, Sam, like you're a single dad tonight. Like I can't even.
You're tapping out.
Yep. I'm done. No,
you tapped out the earliest.
I did. I was like, I'm done here.
You're struggling.
Well, also like Jonah was
struggling.
Yeah,
he also is a diva, doesn't like the heat.
Really? Yeah. So it was oof. Like, if you are thinking of coming to Florida in July, just don't. Really, like just don't, because it's just the worst.
But the day was great. We're making it super negative.
Yeah, sorry. The heat was the biggest negative part. But no, it was so great. Quality time. The boys had fun. And the park was really like dead.
Yeah.
That's what was
probably
so great.
Because it was Satan's butthole.
Yeah, we were the fucking idiots that decided to go. But no, so great. Good times. And our husbands were all there too. And our husbands, oh my God, they like went to go get a beer.
Well, that was your tipping point.
That was my tipping point. So
you were already approaching the edge of wanting to go, and then Taylor grabs Sam and is like, do you want to go get a beer? And I saw their eye contact. It was like, do you want to go wander for 30 minutes and leave these fucking women? And it was so funny because Ruby's baby daddy, Calvin,
oh my God, and he's like such a precious gem of a man.
Seriously, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Precious gem of a man. They go invite him like, do you want to go get a beer? And he's like, no, it's okay, I want to spend time with my son.
Well, he's also like, I don't like beer.
He said I don't like beer, but that's what the vibe I got. Like, no, I want to spend time with my son. Yeah. Oh, great. They're going to go off.
But the thing is, when I thought they were getting a beer, it was like, okay, let me go get the beer and come back.
It's a theme park. There's a beer within every 10-foot radius. Right. I don't know where they went.
No, they went to freaking Simpsons and sat at the bar.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's what they did. And they had 2 beer. Like,
right. See, I wasn't told this information.
See, that's what I was like I was like screaming at Sam on the way home. I'm like, how did you we didn't know that you were going to go sit at a bar. He's like, whoa, you just like, I don't know. Like, you know how he is. Like,
wow.
You just,
no, you outed Taylor. He did not
those
tell me that.
Motherfuckers, yeah.
They sat at the bar.
Yeah.
While you're dealing with screaming Jonah.
They just left us. They just...
Yeah, that was your tipping point because Taylor comes back, and he did come back kind of toasty, so the 2 beers make sense. But he comes back and he's like, I think Lila's mad. And I was like, why do you think that? Let's work through this. Why would you say that?
Right.
Because we were kind of gone a long time. Yeah.
No, like we just didn't think you were having like a literal date. Like,
literal
I'm
date.
so sorry that we crashed your date. Like, fuck.
Wow.
These fucking dads. But they did pull through for us like the whole day, obviously. Like, I have like a cute picture of them pushing the strollers together.
Oh, yeah, you got to send me that.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll post it.
Yeah, it's cute. So,
No, it was a great day. It was
theme
so
parking.
fun.
Yeah, no, so good. Good times were had.
But we're just like struggle.
Yeah, so if they're
struggle bus today.
Low energy a little bit today, but today's also really exciting because we have our first guest.
Yeah, we're so famous.
We're so famous. We're so popular. We have our first guest because today's episode is all about breastfeeding formula,
The boobies.
and the powder. Not the type you
The
snort.
white stuff.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get really like we've been dying to do this episode, and all of us have different perspectives too, so
Completely different.
which is really cool. And also, like, just a disclaimer, we only have 2 microphones. It's not in the budget for a third microphone.
Not in the budget and also not in the tech. We don't know how to add a third one.
Yeah, like your
You
girl
gotta-
had a
you
hard
gotta-
time just getting 2 fucking microphones, so
You got to get with your tech person.
So Mona and I will be sharing a microphone. But yes, so sorry, I just said her name and I didn't even, gosh, I just let the suspense totally. Anyway, so my friend Mona is here, who I've been friends with since high school. We didn't really like each other in high school, but we...
She's shaking her head. No.
because she was best friends with my best friend at the time, Ariel. We shared Ariel.
Oh.
And so I didn't really like her, but then like she like forced me to like her. Like she just kept like forcing herself into my life, and I'm like, fucking fine. So like that's literally
It was our event.
no, but then eventually, like as we were like, you know, whatever.
We weren't friends at first either.
We've been to every.
Well, hold on. We're poor.
We've been to every birthday party of each other's since I can remember, like since we were 18 or 17
Since
years
before
old.
you guys liked each other.
Because Ariel, so like I would have a birthday and Ariel would come and she would sometimes bring Lila, or Lila would have a birthday and Ariel would bring me. So it was like no matter what and Ariel would have like random girls' nights, and both of us were there because we were her girls, you know? So it was like
Forced upon you.
right. So like no matter what we did, we like couldn't escape each other. So and then we were like, so there was times where I think we were supposed to hang out like us 3, and Ariel like bailed, and it was just us 2. I remember like a Chili's in my head or something. Yes. And so yeah, it wasn't me that forced
No,
it,
but you
it
did
was
because like once we started hanging out alone, like I don't know, you would just like always be like, let's hang out. I'm like, oh, fuck,
I don't
fine.
remember that, but okay.
Yeah.
You say so.
Yeah, so that's Mona. I've known her forever, and we're also on this journey of motherhood together.
Sure are.
And we have 3 different perspectives here. So like we'll get into the whole story, but I mostly formula fed for reasons that we'll get into in a minute. And then Mona's kind of done it all, but mostly like we brought her on here for more of the nursing perspective, like exclusively nursing. And then Savannah pretty much exclusively pumped for most of that first year. So that's what I kind of wanted to cover. Like I wanted all 3 perspectives to kind of cover it all and really get into it, because it's really not easy. They make it look like you just stick them on the boob and that's it. And like, that's just like not.
And I think all 3 are hard in different ways. Because even when you do formula, you have the making the milk. Did I choose the right formula? It takes forever. Your kid is crying. You can't just put a boob in their mouth. So you're like, wait a second, I have to make your bottle. And it takes, several minutes. Also, the washing of those freaking bottles. Like,
Yes, there's
like
no
they're
easy
right.
choice when you want to know how to feed
No,
them.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think all of them are hard in their own ways. And you always wonder, like, did I make the right choice by doing this? Because it's not just your baby. It's, your whole family. involved. Mostly, you're thinking of your kid, but it's not just a one-person decision.
No, and it's like the biggest decision.
Right.
Yeah.
At that time.
Because they also make it like when you're in the hospital, and I'm sure both of you
should we talk about that
too.
first? Like
like in the hospital, you birth this being, and then immediately they throw you onto the chest, which is fine. But then, like, at least in my experience, and you guys have your own, but they literally were like, okay, like, breastfeed, and like, we'll be back in 30 minutes. And I was like, how the fuck do I do that?
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know, figure it out. Like, it was just like, so like you felt like thrown into it, right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, for me, I was like, and I don't know how you girls felt, but it wasn't as negative though for me personally, because I was in like this euphoric state after having both my
you're
children.
in La La Land.
Yeah, and I was so in love, and they were like, throw the baby on the boob, and I just did it, and I felt like I didn't feel any sort of way. The only
and you
thing
also still have the adrenaline.
drugs. Well,
and
I
drugs.
had drugs. Yeah,
No,
I had
drugs
a lot of
too.
drugs in me because I did C-section both times. So I was just like, okay. I remember it hurting really bad, but just being like so happy. And when I had, especially when I had my first, I just thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Absolutely.
So it really, like, I didn't think, like, once I had my second, obviously it was different, but I was like, oh, this is what I'm just supposed to do. This is what I was made to do. So I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I just had such a I had a more negative experience, unfortunately, where like they were just like they were like screaming at me almost like, squeeze your boob, do this. Like he like got Sam involved, and they were like, squeeze it like that. Like it was like and I was so delicate in those hours after giving birth, and like it just felt like, can't you be like a little nicer? Like, it was like, so for me, yeah, it was just like a very negative experience. So I tried, because also the other thing with my Jonah was 4 pounds, 15 ounces, and his mouth was so tiny. My nipple was so big. So there was like a lot of latching issues there.
Yeah. And you felt pressure to like feed him to get him to.
And they're immediately, you're immediately just expected. And also I was induced. I gave birth at 37 weeks. Like this wasn't like. Yeah, so it just like was a lot for me, and I tried for 3 nights. I remember I tried to nurse, and it just he bit my nipple one night, and I was like, I'm done. Like I could not. So then that's when I went to pumping, but yeah. Because Savannah, you tried to nurse as well.
Yeah, my decision to exclusively pump was like not all my decision, because. So Gio, my oldest, was in the NICU for the first week, so I couldn't really breastfeed because we couldn't stay there. It was during COVID. I had to pump and then bring the milk, and then they would feed him. He also was jaundiced, so he was under like the blue lights, so we couldn't take him out to like breastfeed. So anyway, I had to pump there, and then when he finally came home after a week, I soonly found out that the supply I had was not normal. Like I made so much milk, and the pumping didn't help. So when we came home and I would try to breastfeed, I was like waterboarding him first of all.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
When did your milk come in?
My milk came in with Gio. It came in when he was in the NICU, so like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And
so what did they give him until your milk came in?
Formula.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were very quick to give him formula, even at the hospital, because he was jaundiced. Mm-hmm. And so part of getting rid of the jaundice, they want them to pee and poop. So they were like, we can't wait for your milk to come in. We're going to give him formula. Mm-hmm. And I was so like la-di-da, like you were saying in that first experience, that I was like, okay, whatever. I was a lot better at advocating the second time, but first time I was like, sure.
So they kind of made the decision for you, like even if you didn't, because they have donor milk, and they have.
Yeah, no, they never told me that.
Yeah, they have a lot of different options, but they just threw formula on you.
Through formula, and then at the NICU through pumping, like you have to pump. Like I probably could have advocated, like, no, I want to latch, but again, I was very la-di-da. I didn't know how to advocate for myself, yada yada. So. Yes, when he came home, I had such a big supply. I was waterboarding him, and then I would still have to.
Your letdown comes out, so it sounds like your letdown was very strong. So that was the issue I had.
Yes.
So the waterboarding is when your letdown is so strong.
Exactly.
And then they can't.
They're tiny mouths.
They can't handle all the milk coming out.
So I kept trying. So what I had to do, I would have to pump before I fed him to get the letdown down, and then once it was a normal spray, then relatch him, and then still pump after because I still had all this freaking milk. So it was like over an hour process, and you're already sleep deprived with a newborn. So I was like, I'm not fucking do this. I have to pick one. And nursing, it just wasn't working because I had too much of a supply. So I went to pumping, and at first I like loved pumping. I was just so naive the first pregnancy, first postpartum. I didn't research anything. So I was exclusively pumping. I had this oversupply, which at first I thought like, oh, I'm making so much milk. Look at me go. I didn't have a schedule, which if you're an exclusive pumper, you have to pump on a schedule or else you're going to get sick, which I did. So I wasn't on a schedule. I was wearing tight wired bras. Like I just didn't know anything that I know now. I wasn't pumping until empty. All these things that you know now.
Right.
And then I remember 6 weeks we hung out for Lucas's first birthday, which actually Cyrus has the same birthday, right? February 27th. Yeah.
24th, but yes.
Oh, his is 24th?
week,
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I remember that was the first case of mastitis I ever got because I was just so ignorant to like what I needed to do. Yeah. I will never forget. I was the sickest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realized like, oh, this oversupply is like not fun. So yeah.
How did you get out of the mastitis? Did you take medication? Did you pump it out?
I had to go on antibiotics because I had like 104 fever and I was dying.
Did you ever have mastitis, Mona?
So I had a clogged duct. The first time with Cyrus, I managed to like massage it out.
Yep.
And then I just weaned my daughter off breastfeeding because she's 10 and a half months old now, almost 11 months.
And we do want to talk about weaning. We'll wait to the end. But
and so with her, I did think I was going to get it. And there was some nights that I was like crying to my husband.
Because of the pain.
My boobs hurt so bad. But we figured it out. And
oh, that's so lucky.
Did
you have a big supply, like an oversupply?
I did with both kids. So my first, I had him, he was 10 pounds, and something told me that, like, this kid needs to eat. Like, he already came out at 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And so when I first had him and they put him on the boob, he was fine. But my negative experience comes in with the first lactation consultant came in a few hours. Like, I think it was, like, 4 or 5 hours after, and I had a C-section, so you're like trapped in the bed for like the first
day.
Well, my first, it was only 6 hours. It wore off after 6 hours. With my second, it was 12 hours, which was so weird. But I was up and walking. I walked the whole floor after 6 hours with my first because they told me if I walked, I could eat. And I was like, you bet.
I'm walking
I'm fucking starving. I'm used to eating like.
Wait, you can't eat after a C-section for how long?
Well, my first 6 hours and my second 12 hours.
See, for me, it was they slowly, like, so they gave me juice when I first had the C-section. Then a few hours later, I got Cheez-Its. But then,
wow, that's so nice of
but
them.
then I literally, but they didn't give me a full meal. Like, I hadn't eaten because you have to fast before you get the C-section.
Right. So you made it to your scheduled date. So that's important.
I did.
So
I made it to my scheduled date.
To your scheduled date. So that's why you fasted longer.
So you have to fast.
But if you don't make it and your water breaks or something,
you'll have food in your belly. Yeah. So they wouldn't give me like a real meal. They gave me like crackers and juice. And I told my husband, like, go to Panera and get me a fucking meal because I'm so hungry. They don't want you to throw up because you just have these stitches. So that's why they like.
Well, and I did throw up with my second. So
did you before the C-section or after?
During. Which somehow I like
C-section.
got it to go back down, but and then right immediately after, and my husband said he was really supportive and like loving. He always told me how great I look, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But he said it was one of like the grossest things he's ever seen because he's like I just felt so bad for you. You're paralyzed to the bed because I can't get up. I cannot
and you're
move.
Throwing
I can't
up,
feel anything.
Like,
and I have
laying
to sit
down.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I managed to sit up, and I'm throwing up. And he's like, I just felt so. He's like, I could never do that.
That's actually really common though. The drugs make you really nauseous, and I had researched that going into my C-section, and so they put me on like Zofran, so I didn't throw up because I threw up the whole labor. I labored with my first, and I threw up the entire time. Like right before pushing, I threw up. Anyway, we're getting off track, but yeah, the throwing up is horrible. But speaking of throwing up, so did you have either of you have like a weird hormone? So my first, the hormone drop postpartum, like, didn't really affect me, but the second, I don't know if it's the C-section because that was the only difference, but my hormone drop made me so sick. Every time I would breastfeed, or because I tried to breastfeed the second time, breastfeed or pump, I would get so sick. And one time I did throw a few days postpartum. I threw up and I was so nervous about my stitches, and that was another reason why, because pumping like made me less sick weirdly.
So when it releases a hormone when you breastfeed, I mean, pumping too, but I think it's more with breastfeeding.
It is for some reason, yeah.
Some women become really depressed and just like almost suicidal when
yes, I've heard about that.
Released, and then some women get really, really sick. Even there's been women that I've spoken to that have really like they need to go to the bathroom. They have to like go number 2 immediately, like. Something between that happens that gets released when the letdown comes out.
So crazy.
And you're, like, breastfeeding your kid, and you're like, I need to go to the bathroom now, or I'm going to crap right here in the bed.
That's how I felt about throwing up. Like I remember we just got home, I breastfed, and I was like, I am going to barf, and I had to like put him down and immediately run, and I just threw up everywhere. And I was
my
like,
gosh,
this is so weird.
And it's like not fun. Like you're barely surviving, and on top of it you have to be nauseous and throwing up.
Oh yeah, no, I immediately called the doctor and she ordered a thing of Zofran. It lasted like a week. Yeah, I wasn't eating.
I always have Zofran on me. I literally have it right now.
Yeah, no.
I don't go anywhere without Zofran. I told this girl she's had freaking I don't know, this stomach bug like 3 times in 3 months. And I've been like, do you want my Zofran? Should I drop it off?
Yeah,
when
no, I need it on deck because that works so well. And I remember Ruby, we hung out with her yesterday. She said when she would breastfeed, she'd get sleepy, like narcoleptic, like when you falling asleep.
Probably a drop in blood sugar for her.
Ah,
yeah.
That's another thing. When you
also, Mona's a nurse, so that's why she also has a lot of knowledge too.
No, I
by the
love
way,
it.
so.
But another thing with breastfeeding and pumping is the hunger.
The hunger. Oh yeah, we were talking about this the other day.
The hunger, especially I think pumping, because pumping, you're like forcing your body to like put out milk so fast. Like you're burning so much. I was so skinny when I was pumping. like I dropped my baby weight so fast.
Yeah, like when I would
see, it's different for everybody. Some people don't lose weight, but because I'm telling you, so I produce like 130 ounces a day.
Well, so I produced a lot. I wasn't that much, but I produced a lot. And my son ate a lot.
Mm-hmm. So did my first.
Yeah. And
I have to show you baby pictures. Like, she'll die. He was so fat.
Yeah,
like, cute, but so chunky.
My, our pediatrician, like, always was like, just give him as much as he'll drink.
That's exactly what ours said, too.
And then I told her how many ounces, and she's like, oh, my God, stop. And so she cut me off at 40 a day.
Yeah, 40 is the cap usually.
Yeah, and then so she started making me put the organic oat cereal in his bottles.
You did that? Okay.
I did that at 4 weeks old because he just was starving all the time. Mm-hmm. And he was already maxed out on ounces.
Did he drink in the night too?
No. Yes, until 3 months old. He was perfect. My first like lottery baby.
Same. I would call him the unicorn baby.
He would have slept through the night. I woke him up every feed.
Same.
He never woke up. He would have slept that first night that we came home from the hospital if I didn't wake him up. He was like always fine, just like this beautiful potato.
Yeah, that's exactly Gio. All he wanted to do is eat and sleep, and he slept through the night. I never had to sleep train. Never went through a regression.
Same.
And the second baby humbled me so fucking fast.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I just hired sleep trainers, actually, and they gave up on me.
Whoa.
Off topic.
Okay, wait, that's like my lactation consultant gave up on me. So I went to 2. One you recommended.
Well, Mona recommended her.
And not that she gave up, but because I had such a big oversupply. So basically, I just went down this vicious cycle. I needed to stop, but when you have an oversupply, if you stop too fast or a different way, you get mastitis, clogged ducts. It was so I got mastitis 6 times. I was
oh my God.
I was on antibiotics like every other month. Like it was so bad.
Do you drink? How much water do you drink a day?
So that was. Now I don't, but when I was breastfeeding, and that's a vicious cycle. When you pump, like you're burning so many calories, you're so thirsty.
Well, I never drank anything. Isn't that crazy? And
so you're like, where are these fluids coming from?
She knows I don't drink. I would have like a coffee in the morning with oat milk because I heard the oat makes your supply grow.
Yep.
And then I would have a Coke somewhere throughout the day, but I literally never, I still don't drink water.
Yeah.
Ever.
Now I have to force myself, but when I'm breastfeeding,
they say like if you drink a lot, it makes your supply bigger.
And eat too, because I ate a lot too, because I always felt like my blood sugar was so low.
Well, like I wouldn't drink a lot of water and my supply sucked. So I don't know if it's really.
I think a lot of it for me was genetic, because both times.
But I think once you have built, because the pumping makes you like, grow. Some women, you're right, like they just don't have a supply. But I think once you establish your supply and then you're doing all this water drinking, it just increases it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like drinking water isn't going to make you have a supply.
No.
But once you already have a supply and you have it established, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Drinking tons of water is going to make it insane.
Yeah. So my supply was so bad. I went to 2 lactation consultants because I wanted to decrease it / just stop. But I didn't know where to begin at 130 ounces a day. So Brooke and then the other lactation. I mean, they were so sweet.
Who's the other person you went to?
Oh, I'll just show you on Insta. It was someone I found on Instagram. She was super nice. And actually, she was probably the most helpful. But I
Did
don't
she
want to
work out with you? Like, did it work out with her?
Sort of, but they both were just like, I've never dealt with someone with that much supply. Because usually when you go to a lactation consult, you want to increase your supply or you're latching. Like they don't really usually deal with my situation.
So I'm going to do a little promo here for Kathy Bradley. So she was one that I recently, with my second, I texted her. I met her through a doula because I was... Side note, but I was very anxious about having my second one because of my experience with my first one. I was trying to get a doula even for the C-section because my water broke the first time and I was scared I was going to have to be in labor again for 4 hours. So I wanted a doula for that time. Her name was Diane Clark. Amazing, amazing, amazing. She suggested to me Kathy Bradley. So I'm texting this lady. She gave me so much support through text message, more than anyone through my journey, like just an angel sent from heaven.
Well, let me say in general, like the lactation consultants, that they are just angel, not the ones in the hospital. Fuck the ones in the hospital. At least for me.
I know what you're saying.
But
Supportive.
supportive. They actually make you feel like, I remember Brooke when I went to her, like I was in those baby blues, right? And like she was the first like medical professional like the week or two that made me feel seen and made me feel like a human
and
being.
I think I said that even with the sleep consultants and the lactation consultants, even if they don't really help you like with your situation, it was like therapy because she
even, like,
sat
came
down
out to
with me. I was like, how are you? And I just start sobbing and I'm like, I'm not okay.
And she like literally even came out to my car to like look at my car seat and see if it, like, she was just like such an angel. And these ICL, BLC, whatever the fuck they're.
Yeah, even if they don't, because I will say they didn't really help my situation because they didn't know, but just talking to someone and them.
Maybe back then I would have told you.
I know. So them validating just like, this is really hard, you're doing a great job. And it was like not free, it wasn't free, but it was a therapy session.
But it's so worth it. I know they're not really covered by insurance, but
Mine was. I got like
mazel.
3 free sessions through my insurance. So that was nice.
Like sometimes they'll bill you or like you pay for it and then you can send it to them later. But also so some of these lactation consultants are like under an umbrella of all these things. So 2 of the ones I saw, one with my first and one with my second before I met Kathy Bradley, they just did lactation. But then Kathy Bradley, she does like everything, like before care, after care. Like you can hire her. She has night nurses that will come to your house and take care of you and the baby.
Yeah, wow.
There's like a plethora of stuff. Sleep training. I remember when my daughter was 4 months old and I had, TMI, but I had like GI issues really bad and I could not stay out of the bathroom and I was like dying. I was like, I cannot stop going. I need to take an Imodium. And I would, online they tell you like, be careful. Don't take it if you're breastfeeding, blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah. All of those medications that you can't take when you're breastfeeding.
So I texted her and I said, I'm dying. I think I have some sort of food poisoning. Like, can I please take this? Do you know if I can? Yes. Like, how are you doing? Like, telling me tips and tricks and stuff. And then even when I started feeding her solids, I connected with her again because the last text she would always send me is like, always text me, put me in your like favorite contacts. Doesn't matter what your question is. I'm always
reaching
here for
out
you.
to people like that. It's key when you're literally in the drowning phase.
Yeah, and if you are drowning, just know there are options out there.
Yes,
there
and it's temporary. We always say that, like, because I think back on that first year. So we'll just end my exclusive pumping journey, and then we can go into nursing. But basically, yes, I was in a vicious cycle. I had way too much supply. All my friends and family were saying, "You need to stop," and I didn't want to stop. It wasn't that I was guilty about the whole giving him breast milk, because I had so much stashed away because I had an oversupply. So I had a whole deep freezer. It was just, I didn't want to get mastitis again, and like weaning you more than likely with my situation. So I just did it really slowly. I exclusively pumped for a year. And I look back on that and I really should have stopped earlier, because my hormones, I was just not in a good place. I was so hormonally, when I breastfeed, my hormones, I'm just in such a bad place. My anxiety grows. My libido is negative 5,000. Like, I don't want anyone to touch me. I'm not in a good place. So I look back on that first year of Gio's life and I get mad at myself because it's so hazy, because I was just in a bad place. So the second time around, I knew I was going to have to exclusively pump if I was going to choose to breastfeed, because usually when you have a big supply the first time, you're going to have it the second time. And I did. So, but I basically gave myself boundaries. So my husband gets 4 months paid time off. So I was like, I'm going to do it for 4 months. And then when he goes back to work, I'm weaning. And I did exactly that. I went really slow because I don't want to get mastitis. So I think I stopped around 6-7 months, and he's 10 months now. And we're still using breast milk because, again, I had so much supply. I froze a lot.
I was going to say, it's too hard to like have a kid and pump without help in the house when it's just
exactly.
I was like, I can't exclude. There's no way.
There's no way, because you're literally attached to an outlet. You're attached to the wall, because the wearables did not work for me because I had big boobs and it just wouldn't work.
Same.
So I had to be attached to the wall. And so that's why I said I'll only do it while he's home with me, because I can't manage a toddler and a newborn when I'm attached to the wall 5 times a day.
When you have like a potato baby and you just got that one,
that's okay.
Fine.
It's
like,
doable.
You can do it during their naps. You can do it, like put them in something for the 20-30 minutes that you're pumping. But
when you have a toddler, and your toddler, from what I've heard, is like high energy, just like mine, like needs the attention, needs you to like get up, and
10 out of 10 energy.
I literally we had to move a chair where he could not, because he also would climb up on me while I'm pumping. So we had to move the chair and create like a barricade where like he could not touch me, which is sad, but it's just so many maneuvers. But the second time was a lot better mentally. Also, I knew so much more. So that any first time mom going into pumping, breastfeeding, whatever it is, like research and like reach out to people, because I knew so little.
Yeah, I feel like I just like expected to like know. Like I expected it to just be like,
because that's what they show you in the movies. It's just this connection. You just know it's natural, right? Your body makes it so like it should be so easy. And it's
and I saw like all my other friends and family just like put them on the boob, and like it just looked like, okay, well that's what you do. But no, like for me, it was obviously so much harder.
Yes, let's get into your journey.
Yeah, because I had the opposite problem of Mona and Savannah, where I had not a great supply, and that's also very common. But I tried to nurse. I couldn't do it. 3 days in, I said, hell no. So then I started pumping exclusively, and it was fine. Like I had a decent supply up until 2 weeks postpartum. I got mastitis. And I went on antibiotics, the whole thing. Really the worst, like, I don't wish mastitis on like my worst fucking enemy. Like it is.
It's the sickest I've ever been.
Yeah,
the clogged ducts, the pain, your pain of your boobs, the throbbing pain, like I can't describe it.
Yeah, it's really nothing like I ever wish upon anybody. So I got it at 2 weeks, and then after that mastitis was when my supply really, like my supply already wasn't amazing. Like it was like kind of doing, and also I had a very small baby.
That's another thing. When you get mastitis, usually your supply drops because you're not draining it. It's like a whole, when you have a clogged duct.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to like pump more, breastfeed more when you have mastitis
to get it out.
You're also literally dying of pain, so it's like so hard to do that.
Like I'll just not. Yeah,
it's a vicious fucking cycle. Mastitis, clogged ducts, like. You don't even know. It's so bad.
But just go on the fucking antibiotics. Like that's at least my mentality about it. Like,
and then also like for my clogged duct, what I did was I massaged it, took a super hot shower, and I just stuck with it in the shower, like massage. And also they do say online, like your husband can get it out for you. I know, like gross, TMI, weird, but my husband offered many times, and then like this most recent time I was like dying, and he's like
for them to like suck your nipple.
Yeah, they suck the clog out because the babies can only suck so much, but like an adult suction,
they get tired, you know.
An adult suction, it's like sucking through a straw, like sucking a thing out of a straw.
No, I've heard about it, but
I'm sure everyone's husband is like, okay, sign me up.
It's not as glamorous though, because
No, I can't even, because also
Yeah.
you're in pain. Yeah, it's like not.
husband sucking on nipple and thing comes out, liquid. It
Oh my
changes
God.
things.
Everything has changed, but I will say, like, it is you're the last thing. Like, if you're like really dying, like, just hold that in your back pocket.
Yeah, but I also, when I would get clogged duct or mastitis, I would do heat. Heat worked the best for me. Heat worked the best. I think now they're recommending ice, like for the inflammation.
So you can do both. There's these ice packs. Actually, Frida makes them.
Yes, they can do both.
They have like 50 times where they'll heat up. It's like a little. It looks like almost like a
Yes.
quarter in them. You,
all
like,
the
snap
Frida mom stuff, postpartum for breastfeeding, like came in so clutch.
it. And the heat pack, you don't have to keep getting up and putting it in the microwave. It just heats by itself, and then if you don't want it to heat, you pop it in the freezer. But I just loved like not having to put it in the microwave, not having to plug it in. I literally snapped it, and it got hot, like burning, boiling hot up to 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the best products I ever bought.
I also used heat right before I would pump because the heat like makes it
Yes, I did
flow,
that too.
flow faster.
Scheduled my pump session after my shower.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. I would take a boiling hot shower because we both had an oversupply. So if things drained down the shower, like I don't give a fuck. Like I have plenty to spare. So I would shower first, get them all nice and hot, and then the milk would just flow out. That's exactly what I did.
So you oversupplying bitches over here. Let me
It's not fun.
No,
though.
I know.
That's-
Like just. Yeah, just like two different perspectives, obviously. But so I got that mastitis, and then my supply just continued to be shitty. And mind you, also I gave birth to Jonah in December, right? So like, of course, it's like Christmas, New Year's time, and it's like so hard to get. But Brooke Simmons, I will say, she was like literally there for me. She was like, I don't care if it's fucking Christmas. Like,
Did you
call
do
me.
a phone call or she actually came?
I went to her.
Okay.
But then she would like text me, and then we finally came to. So I was 2 weeks. I got the mastitis. Then I remember around New Year's, like a little bit after New Year's, I was just again like I was producing like nothing.
I know, and you were trying so hard.
Yeah, I really was, and I was also going and I was having baby blues, and I was going like Mona kind of explained earlier that sometimes pumping and nursing can put you in kind of like a depression because.
Yeah, like, you're already hormonal. You're already, even without the pumping and breastfeeding, you have sometimes the baby blues. But it releases a hormone in some women that causes them to be almost suicidal.
Yeah, and that was pretty much me. Like I was literally the lowest of the low, and you and my sister were the two that were kind of like you were like you're getting depressed, like you're getting.
I just was like, it's okay if you don't do it. Like, it's completely fine.
But the thing is, like especially like the pediatricians, they fucking shame you.
Even at the hospital.
The hospital, I can't wait for my next one where like I'm gonna go in and be like I'm formula feeding day one.
Come in bound.
I'm gonna come in bound, and I'm
Take these bad boys.
I'm not fucking doing it. So anyway,
Well, like a depressed mom, yes, you can take care of your kids, right? But like, it's not good for your baby. Right. Like at the end of the day, like they're always fighting like to give the baby breast milk. But is a sad mom who's like crying and like doesn't know if she wants to stay alive a good option? Like, no. If mom's mental health is not okay, like we need to take care of her. Just as much as the baby needs to be taken
especially
care of.
for you, like you were making so little that you were having to supplement with formula anyway.
right.
So,
So it was just kind of like
what's the point?
Yeah. So, and Sam was like totally on board. Like everybody was telling me it was obviously a me decision where I had to just be like, okay, I'm done. So like I did go to my lactation consultant and I was like, I'm done. Like I really can't, but like the shame you feel in the moment. Looking back on it now, I'm like, haha, bitch. But the guilt of like, I'm not feeding my baby the natural way that I was intended to.
Especially since he was small. I think people pressured her more because he was born early. He was born small. She just had this like super rough pregnancy. So I know she got it worse than like maybe most moms would have because he was born 4 pounds, 15 ounces. So, and there was all these like things that were off or whatever. So they were like, feed him. But if you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
And I also feel like for you, correct me if I'm wrong, because your pregnancy, you had an IUGR, like you've already felt like your body was failing you. So then with breastfeeding, you're just like, why is my body failing me? And it's a real emotion that everybody feels.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's part of your whole trauma of that
Yeah, it was
couple years.
Yeah, it really is. So,
a lot of packed up trauma there.
well, I ended up stopping like around his 4 week, like a 1 month. So I gave it a go,
And
I
even
did.
weaning, you got mastitis.
Well, bitch, I was getting there.
oh, sorry. Spoiler alert.
So I'm doing the cabbage. I'm doing.
Oh, wait, so should we talk about weaning, that whole process?
Yeah, I guess we can kind of get it since I'm like talking about it. Well, I weaned at 1 month. I think it's very different to wean at 1 month versus 6 months, 4 months.
No.
It's actually more harder. Yes.
That's when you have your most. Well, it depends. So when your supply comes, and then you have from like 4 weeks to like 12 weeks
Of
where
regulating.
it's like like it's coming out like crazy.
It's kind of going on supply demand of like what,
Yeah.
it's figuring it out. So your body hasn't.
When I weaned recently, it probably was a lot easier for me versus you weaning at 1 month.
Yes, yeah. They recommend not to wean so early because your body hasn't regulated. You regulate. They say 6 weeks. It's usually like 12 weeks. Then your body regulates to where what that means is you're producing the same amount every day. You're
It takes 3 months for
3
your
months, 12
boobs
weeks,
to,
yep.
close up. So, and even sometimes longer. Like I have a girlfriend who stopped around 1 or 2 months, and her baby's 6 months now. And I mean TMI, but she said, they were doing stuff, and milk came out and like all over him, and she was like, "What is going on right now? I stopped breastfeeding 4 months ago."
I still leak a little bit. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So
So anyway, so it's
there's-
actually harder those first couple weeks.
I didn't realize that
because your body, you're not pumping or breastfeeding, so the milk's getting trapped, and it doesn't realize you're trying to wean because they're
Yeah.
like, your baby's only 4 weeks old, like we got to pump it out. So it's very common to get mastitis if you stop that early.
Well, yeah. So I stopped. I started the cabbage. I guess is a real fucking thing. Like yeah, cabbage was my Lord and Savior for at least those first 2 weeks, and then I took like some fucking like not FDA approved like
Sudafed?
No, not Sudafed is FDA approved,
But not for weaning.
right?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I don't think I did Sudafed, but I did. Like parsley and
yeah.
like I did I did like literally all the voodoo shit.
Oh no,
and
I'm sure
was
I did
fine.
even more because I tried everything.
Yeah.
So peppermint is supposed to be
Yes.
peppermint, drinking it, but also putting peppermint oils.
I drank the teas like
The teas, yeah, because I unintentionally started doing that like a few months ago. I was like, I'm not sleeping well. I'm going to start drinking like chamomile, peppermint, the valerian root, all those teas, like the sleepy time teas. And I think I started weaning from then unintentionally.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the peppermint. So I tried everything to decrease my supply. Spoiler alert, none of it worked for me. But yes, I did
it
peppermint.
worked for me, but yeah, no, everybody's
I think
different.
because I just had
you
so
had the over.
much. But yeah, peppermint, sage, parsley. There's
Sage.
that.
I said basil. Yeah,
There's
sage.
that tea that like no milk, no more tea, whatever that has all
no,
of those.
I did that too. I literally did it all, and it took about 2 weeks to fully fade. So I was good. Like just about 2 weeks.
You were like dropping a pump every few days.
Yeah. And Brooke had a good plan for me, and it was working for me. And then I stopped. And then a week after I was fully done, I remember the moment. I was like sitting in Jonah's bedroom.
Remember the moment you get mastitis.
Yeah, like tummy time. I don't remember the first one because 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks postpartum is way different than like 8 weeks.
When it wasn't the second time rougher. Maybe it's because you weren't
I think
expecting
it was just about the same. Yeah. So I'm literally sitting in Jonah's room like tummy time, and I like feel like a tinge in the nipple.
We all know the booby tinge.
Like the tinge of like the fucking, and then I'm like, what? And then like literally 30 minutes later, I get a fever. Like it was like mastitis comes so fast, and then I'm like, what the fuck? I've like stopped. So then I went to the doctor. Same thing. They're like, yeah, this can happen.
And they were like, do not pump.
Yeah, because that's what I asked. I was like, what do I have to go back to pumping? They said no, just right. So
make it worse.
So just take the antibiotics.
Just like let your boobs fill up as much as you can handle it, and then pump a small
When you're
section
weaning.
until you can feel
Yes.
that relief, and then back to nothing.
But I was like done. Like I had not pumped in like 2 weeks at that point. So PSA that it can happen even when you're like
those
completely
first few months after I weaned, I still was always like checking my boobs, like making sure that there was no clogged duct or anything.
So I just I think for me, like this episode for me, what I want to get across mostly is just like the shame of, again, about like of switching to formula is like, it's not a bad thing. And I think in the moment you feel so overwhelmed with it because, again, like I had pediatricians being like, just try, just keep trying. And I'd be like, you want to see my fucking crusty ass nipples that are doing nothing? Then go ahead.
And it can be triggering because the pediatrician, those first few months you go all the time. And that's the first question they ask. Like, are you breastfeeding or are you formula feeding?
Yeah.
And they can be judgy about it, like, oh, why did you choose this? And like you said, did you give up? Like, when did you give up? It's not called giving up, by the way.
No, like literally fed is best. So my child is fed, right? And like I'm happier. Like my mental health took a complete turn. Not that I was like perfectly amazing, but at least like I didn't feel like I wanted to die every single day.
And even other moms and friends, that is like, especially like the older generation, like mother-in-law, like people.
Oh,
like
my
that.
mom shamed me. My own mother shamed me.
I'll ask you like, oh, are you you're not breastfeeding?
Yeah. Yes. My mom literally was like, oh, you stopped? And I'm like, yeah, like, I just wasn't for me. And she was like, oh, like, it was like like, literally, it's kind of crazy, that especially, that generation.
I have the complete opposite.
So everyone was supportive?
So everyone kept telling me to stop pumping, stop breastfeeding, and go to formula. I was hanging on by a thread because I really wanted to do it. I really, really wanted to do it for my son and for my daughter. And my mom and my mother-in-law, everyone I know was like, stop, just stop, just stop, just stop. My husband was the only one that was like, you can do it. Like, keep going.
So you didn't like that they were telling you to stop. You felt...
No, because I was obviously complaining, I guess, or venting to like get support. And like a lot of the times I didn't even complain. They just saw me and what I was doing and like, or knew that I was up pumping all night with my first.
Yeah. And
then they would just tell me like, that's enough now. And I'm like, what are you
right.
talking about?
And it's not that you wanted someone to tell you to stop. It's more like you just want a validation of like, yeah, we know it's hard and you're doing a great job and power through.
Exactly. But I didn't get that. I mean, and my husband did, but everyone else was like, just stop. And I don't even remember honestly complaining. I think that they just would be like, oh, let's do this or let's do that. Like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm tied to the outlet. I did have LVs, which I did earlier say that, I'm big chested. LV did work for me. It didn't get out as much as like my Medela or my Spectra.
It doesn't fully empty
but
you.
It was great on the go. Like if I wanted to go to a dinner and we just brought the baby with us because I needed like some sanity, it worked. But yeah, I had everyone telling me to stop. Obviously not like the medical professionals or anything like that, but my support at home was very different than anyone else's. And I think
but I'll be like the first person to tell anybody to stop. I guess that's like me and my experience now. Like anytime I see a mom being like, I'm struggling with it, I'll be like, it's okay to stop. Like, I don't know. I think it obviously comes from a place of love because I think probably I was one of those people, but like because I know
you
at
go
least
to your past trauma.
I know, but I also at least know from
with everything everyone does that.
Yeah, but I at least know from my experience is that like it really changed my mental health significantly when I did stop. And like you said, a happy mom is a better mom, So it's it's hard, and it's yeah, it was a very hard decision, but we did it, and it ended up being great, and he was growing, and it happened, so that's the formula, like that. So if anybody like ever feels like they, if their supply just isn't happening and, you're feeling depressed and you're feeling down, like just know that it's okay. And actually there's a really good Instagram page. I think her tag is for the Formula Mom or Formula Mom, something like that. She is so great. She literally makes you feel the Formula Mom on Instagram. And wow, no, she like has such great resources, and she just makes you feel like so much better being a formula mom, and from this experience now, I just know, okay, with my next, I'm strapping up the boobs and I'm just not doing it. I know I'm going to get a lot of shame for it in the hospital when that happens, but I don't fucking care because I already know that road for me, and And I know a lot of people are also going to probably come at me being like, well, like the second time is different, I promise. And no, I don't fucking care.
No, but I will say the second time is different in the aspect of like advocating for yourself.
Right.
So I think you're not going to have as big of a trouble being like, nope,
I
I'm not
just
doing
had such a negative experience all the way around, from hospital to pediatrician to all of it. It was just so negative. And I just don't, especially if I'm going to have a toddler at home plus, you know, like I don't want that. I don't want it, you know. I want to just be as great mentally as I can be. So what I know is what I know.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, before we get into nursing, I do want to shout out our friend Ruby. I was very impressed that she like 2 weeks, even less than 2 weeks maybe, she was like, nope,
She
not
made the
doing
decision.
it. Yeah.
And that's great. That's great. I'm just such an advocate for that too, you know. I don't know. Like
just
know.
what you said. A happy mom is better than anything.
Happy mom is the best mom, and that's literally all that matters, because your kids' happiness at the end of the day, them being full and happy, that's all you care about.
So
they're potatoes, that's all they need.
So before we end this, we wanted to talk about your second experience, because you basically exclusively pumped the first time, but then the second experience that you're going through now, you chose a different route. So
why did you choose to exclusively nurse?
So I did all the planning beforehand. So with my first, I had a C-section. They put him on my boob. He would fall asleep. He would latch. He would breastfeed. I breastfed him for like 3 weeks. But he would just fall asleep. And that freaked me out. And I was like, again, I had a 10-pound baby. And I was like, he's hungry. He's hungry. He's hungry. I think it was my own anxieties. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to pump, because when I pump, I can see how much he's getting.
That's the best part of it too, yeah.
Right. So, and I could do that because I was a stay-at-home mom. I stopped working. I stopped working like 2 nights before I had him, and I was at home with him, and I was in heaven. I literally, like, I was in euphoria. And I had the time to do it. I figured out my schedule. It took a long time to figure out the schedule. I was pumping every 2 to 3 hours. Me and him basically lived in the living room. Yeah. I had his little like cot thing where I had the snoo, but he would sleep in the cot thing until I figured things out. I basically didn't sleep ever, because by the time that I changed him, fed him the previous bottle, put him back, it was time for me to pump again. And then when I was finished pumping, putting the milk away, it was time to wake him up. Mm-hmm. So I did this for 3 months straight. I don't think I slept for 3 months, but my husband would wake up early, take him, and I would sleep in the morning a little bit. With my second, the reason that I chose to exclusively breastfeed is because I always wanted to do it first off, especially with my first. It didn't end up that way. And then he was supposed to go back to school when she was 3 months old. I took him out of school at the end of my pregnancy and the beginning of her birth. Again, I have a little bit of PTSD because I have a COVID baby. I had my baby like during high times of COVID. And I just did not want him getting her sick with something that was going to end up in the hospital, or him being so sick that I can't take care of her and I have to take care of him. So in my head, I was like, I don't have time to wash bottles. I don't have time to sit there and pump. Mm-hmm. What I can do is whip my boob out and feed her while I'm taking care of him in the living room. So that was my thought process. I knew I wanted to get milk in her for the antibodies, but I also knew I didn't have the time around everything else. Yeah. So exclusively breastfed was my way to go.
Okay.
So I had her. It was a scheduled C-section. My water broke. I labored, went into C-section. Her, just C-section, straight out the gate. She made it. She did not break my water. They threw her on my boob. She immediately started eating. Mm-hmm. Immediately. As soon as she came out of the womb. Latched and did not get off my boob for 2 days. I never gave her formula. I never gave her anything. Yeah. We did get home, and I gave her formula at night to give myself a break from the, putting her down, picking her up, pumping, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I just focused on pumping at night, and I was able to get like an hour or two here and there. And then because there wasn't any trade-offs anymore in the morning. My husband was taking care of our toddler and taking care of her to help me get some sleep. But it's like he's not like Superman. Like, we can't all do it all at once. We try. And I really did get lucky in the fact that, like, my husband tries everything. He is so helpful. He doesn't just like sit there ever. So I would wake up with her, breastfeed her as much as I could. I was in a lot of pain the first 5 weeks. I mean, I was crying. I came home with bleeding
Your postpartum,
nipples.
yeah, was a little different. Actually, it's interesting. I feel like your first time around, you were like this thriving queen, and like the second
Yeah.
time around, she was like, okay, I'm a little sad.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if I got the baby blues or what it was, but the transition from 1 to 2 really knocked me off. Really just like knocked me on my ass. I was not prepared for the emotional aspect of it. I'm not an emotional person. Like, if I'm watching a TikTok and there's a military dad coming home, sure, I'm going to cry. But like in my relationship, like I've never cried. Like I don't cry easy. I'm not emotional. So it's just like weird. It was weird for me. I'm only emotional with my kids. So with my son, he was my entire world. And I've literally, and I will tell anyone, it's not healthy. I've given up my life for taking care of my kids.
Be a mom.
Right.
I feel the same way.
So I don't go to the hair salon. I don't go to the nail salon. I don't get massages. I don't even go to the doctor. Like, I never leave my kids. I don't go on date nights. We don't go on vacations. Again, disclaimer, unhealthy. I need to change it. But I have literally given up my life for my kid. So, and I've been with him for 2.5 years, and now I have this new baby. And there was like a period where I resented her because I felt like I was spending all my time feeding, taking care of her. I was the only one that could do it because I was exclusively breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And I could not be with him, and I wanted to be with him.
This is going to make me emotional because I have such a similar experience, like going from 1 to 2. So my kids are 19 months apart, and same thing. Like, I had a really rough time. Like, I wouldn't say I had postpartum depression, but going from 1 to 2 was astronomically harder than going from 0 to 1 in my perspective.
It is. It's emotionally, it was harder. Physically, I was like, okay, I've already done all this stuff. Like, my body knew what to do.
Yeah.
The motions were the same, right? And like the lack of sleep the first time really like knocks you on your ass. But the second time, you're like, okay, I've
Yeah, it
already done
wasn't
this.
the
Like,
sleep, but yeah, it was. I have a
it's
very
emotional
similar
stuff. And like, I was just so attached to my first. And here's this new baby that I love. But I'm like, why are you keeping me away from my son? You're keeping me
Yeah.
away. Right.
And especially when you have a C-section, like, I couldn't lift my toddler for 6 weeks, and he
Right,
always wanted me to hold him, me to put him in the car seat. I couldn't do any of that.
You to put him to bed. You to do all that
I was
stuff.
already missing time with him because I had to pump and be with the baby. And so I also had a hard time connecting with my first few months. Like, to be honest, it was like with Gio, it was immediate as soon as he came out and as soon as in the hospital, like immediate, that like love. And it's not like I still loved my second, but I think it was all of those
It's just the
emotions,
bonding. It's
the
the bonding.
bonding,
You're
the
not,
hormones that are working against
the
you.
obsession wasn't there.
And you already knew this one human for 2 years, and then this one you just met, and all you know is that they're taking away time from the love of your life. You're
Right, exactly.
I felt the same. I felt the same way.
It was really, really hard for me. But then, like, I remember my mom. So I did have my mom come every day in the mornings for a month or two, and that was like a help that I cannot explain how helpful that was to me, because she would come and she would take my baby and gave me a couple hours to brush my teeth, put on makeup. I put on makeup every day the first couple months. I don't know why. I put on makeup.
It helps you feel better.
That first month or two, more than I ever have in my life. But
There's something about it that helps you be more, because you don't feel like yourself.
Right.
You literally have a wound that
Right.
you're healing from. Your body is all rubbery.
and your body is a completely different shape, and you feel gross. So
I also did my hair and makeup like every day.
Yeah, so I did my hair and makeup. I would like clean up from the middle of the night because, me and my daughter were I'm feeding her, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm throwing diapers on the floor. So I would clean up, and then she would spend quality time with my daughter. So I wasn't feeling guilty that my daughter is just sitting there, no one's holding her. And then I would spend some time with my son. And so that was really, really nice. And then I revealed to her, like, how I felt, and I felt so guilty.
You
And
do
she
feel
was like,
guilty because you
"It's
expect
okay."
this the same as your first to have this immediate connection. And when you don't, it's very normal. People have it all the time. Even with their first, people have that not immediate connection.
Yeah, so
And you
I
feel
was
so
like,
guilty.
Yeah, and I felt lost, and I felt like I'm a bad mom. And my mom was like, "No, this is how I felt with my second. Everyone feels like this. You don't need. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, get over it." And I was like, "Okay, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you for that." So, I did breastfeed her a lot, but I did give her Kendamil formula for the first 2 weeks, only at night. So it was like 2 feedings or 3 feedings, just to like figure things out. And then I also wanted her to be able to be okay with formula, be okay with a bottle.
Yes,
Because
you were going
I ever got food poisoning or I was hospitalized with something, like what if I got run over? I didn't want there to be a problem when it came to like transitioning her.
Yes.
So I nursed, and then I exclusively nursed after the first 2 weeks until she was like 8 months old. And then I reintroduced formula to her. But I knew she was going to be okay with the formula. There was no allergies. There was no problems because I had already given it to her. It took her a little while, like a week, I would say, to like really actually like it. She drank it. She didn't complain, but she still wanted to nurse. So I just stopped nursing like 2 weeks ago.
How's that been for you? Like the weaning process?
Yeah. So I was emotional for maybe like one day because I was like, oh, this is probably my last baby and I'm like not going to breastfeed ever again. But I was like, I got over it because I was like, you know what? I'm spending so much time breastfeeding her. So this may be different for other moms, but apparently like breastfed babies are just a whole different ball game. They're very attached. They don't sleep through the night.
Yeah, and it's very common
for them not to sleep through the night. And I wasn't sleeping at all because she wasn't sleeping at all, and then I wasn't spending any time with my second. And again, my mental health I think is more important, and the mental load that I was taking on by feeling like I wasn't there for my for my first baby was too much. I want to be an equal mom to both of them. And I understand that she needed that time just me for a while. But ultimately my decision was I want to be an equal mom to both of them. And it's time that she gets sleep because she needs sleep just as much as she needs food.
And so do you. You need sleep.
Right. And I was deteriorating. I was like experiencing mom rage.
Postpartum rage, because I mean the last 2 years we need to have a whole episode on postpartum rage, because like how we want to just kill our husbands sometimes because it builds up, and I think
and
the
even
hormones
but yeah, I wanted to throw her against the wall sometimes because she would not sleep, and I would put her down, and she's like fighting me, and I'm like, what is there to fight? Please go to sleep.
I have heard of that like formula fed kids sleep a lot better than breastfed, but like
because breastfed they usually don't drink as much.
Yeah.
So
Well, and my lactation consultant explained to me, she goes, look, a formula bottle is like Thanksgiving dinner. Every time you drink it, it's a Thanksgiving dinner. And breastfed babies are having like
snack
little meals, you know?
Right. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So the point is there's no easy route.
There's no easy route, but they like whatever way you choose is a beautiful, great way. And if your kid is fed, that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Repeat after us. Fed is best.
And your mental health is just number one priority, because you can't be a good mom if you're sleep deprived, mentally struggling, all of that. So just do what's best for you, and also reach out to a lactation consultant, reach out to other mom friends, your own mother, just get help and do what you need to do.
Absolutely, because it's hard out here for the boobies.
Literally.
Yeah.
Rock hard.
That's our episode. Thank you, Mona, for sharing everything and, getting vulnerable and
taking time out of your day and your kids.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Like my only outing this month, or like after like a few months.
That's what I say, like these weekly, like this is me getting out of the house for the week.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're so thankful to have the other perspective. And yeah, I feel like we could go on and on, but like
We could,
yeah.
and we probably will have another episode, you know.
Yeah, and all that. But now you know everybody's feeding journeys and how they are, and there's no right or wrong way. Just do your way.
Yeah, so
So that's it. So thank you for listening, and follow us on Instagram at Scrunchy Moms Club Podcast and on TikTok at Scrunchy Moms Club Podcast. And tune in next week.
for mystery topic,
No, we have the next 5 planned.
I just don't remember. So I'm saying mystery topic.
Mystery topic, because we like to keep our fans on their toes. Thank you, and have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye.